Today, I will be ranking Black Sabbath's albums from worst to best, and I've been meaning to do this for a while now, but I just recently saw that channel Sea of Tranquility do their ranking, so I thought I might as well get my opinion out there as well. And that is all it is, guys, just my opinion. Nobody's going to agree on this completely, especially with a band like Black Sabbath, where there's so many albums, so many different singers, lots of different eras. Some people, like, come on, we got to be honest, the fans are pretty divided on certain parts of Black Sabbath. There's people that say, oh, you know what, if it's not Ozzy Osbourne singing, I'm not going to listen to it. I think that's just stupid. There's 10 albums without Ozzy Osbourne. There's 9 albums with him. So, there's a lot of good material all throughout the discography. I enjoy stuff from every era. There's 5 different singers that sang on their albums. Tony Martin sang on 5. Ian Gillan sang on an album. Glenn Hughes sang on an album. Ronnie James Dio sang on 3. Ozzy sang on the rest. And 19 total. That's what I will be ranking. There's studio albums, 19 to 1. There is the Heaven and Hell album called The Devil You Know from 2009. Solid album, but I'm not going to include it in the ranking just because technically it's not a Black Sabbath album, even though it's got the Mob Rules lineup and it sounds exactly like Sabbath. Good stuff, just not going to include it here. And I will be doing this ranking in this format here. I'll go 19 through 11 as quickly as possible. Won't spend too much time on the albums. Maybe say a song or two I like. Say a few words about it maybe. And then for 10 through 1, I'll do the normal format I usually do, where I give a sample clip of like a song from the album and then talk about the album after. So here we go. Starting off at number 19 is going to be their most recent album, 13, came out in 2013, and just this album I don't love. It's not terrible either, so there's a couple pretty good songs. God Is Dead is alright, End of the Beginning is pretty cool, kind of structured like the self-titled song from the debut album. There's a Spotify bonus track called, what's that song called? Methodemic. Yeah, Methodemic, which is pretty good. I don't know why it wasn't included just on the CD here, but yeah, not a terrible album, but it does have to come in at number 19 for me. And then at number 18 is going to be Never Say Die. This was released in 1978. It was the final album with Ozzy Osbourne before they broke up. They broke up with Ozzy, and then, some of my favorites on this are Johnny Blade and the title track. Those are both very solid songs, but overall, just not the strongest album of theirs by any means. I think a lot of fans of Black Sabbath would agree with me on that. And then coming in at 17 is going to be Technical Ecstasy, which I feel like a lot of fans would have these albums near the bottom. Came out in 1976. Backstreet Kids is a good song on the album. You Won't Change Me, that has a really great Tony Iommi guitar solo towards the end. But overall, still not that great of an album. It's just okay, I'd say. And if you see me looking down, it's because I'm looking at my ranking here on my phone. That's all I'm looking at. I'm not reading from a script or none of that crap. Just looking at the ranking, because I can't remember everything from 19 through 11. But, number 16 is going to be Forbidden. This was released in 1995, and Tony Martin, the last album to feature him on vocals. It had Cozy Powell on the drums. The last album with him, obviously. He passed away not too long after this, unfortunately. Really great drummer. Just overall, this album was kind of weird. They had Ice-T doing like some spoken word, little like snippet on there on the song Illusion of Power. They had Ernie C., the guitarist of Body Count, produce it. Nothing wrong with that, just kind of random. What the heck? And then some of my favorites on it, though, are Kiss of Death and the title track. Those songs are really good, I'd say. Just the rest of it, just not too great. Some decent other stuff mixed in, but has to be number 16 for me. So those albums, I'd all say, are just like okay, not too good. And then the rest of them here are all pretty good. Just some stuff has to come in down towards the bottom for me, which is going to make you guys mad, I'm sure. But Master of Reality has to come in at number 15 for me. Came out in 1971. By no means, it's not bad. Just, I don't love it. It's pretty good. Pretty good stuff. Just some of my favorite songs on it are Children of the Grave for sure and Sweet Leaf. Children of the Grave is great. Just like Into the Void, I'm sure some people might say that's like one of their favorites, but to me it just feels a little bit too sluggish, kind of slow. Don't love that one particularly, but yeah, number 15, Master of Reality. And then number 14 is going to have to be the self-titled debut from 1970. Don't hate it. It is a good album. Very important album. Just, I like a lot of their other stuff better. The title track is great. The Wizard is awesome. Just, NIB is pretty good. Don't love the rest. So number 14, after that was number 15, or no, that was number 14. So number 13 is going to be Volume 4. As I said before, I watched that Sea of Tranquility channel's ranking. They had this one at number 1. Gonna have to disagree. It's pretty good, just I don't particularly love all of the early albums that much. Volume 4, it's got some good stuff, but Under the Sun, by far the best song to me. Supernaut is good as well. Cornucopia is also pretty good. Snowblind isn't bad. Just has to be in at 13. Very hard to rank these albums. Gonna piss people off, but oh well. Number 12. And I've been forgetting to show the albums. I've got Volume 4 right here. Yeah, don't have all of them, but I have Volume 4. And then Paranoid is going to come in at number 12 for me. Got it right here on CD. I have it somewhere on vinyl. I'm not very prepared right now, but got the CD right here. It is a very strong album. So from here on up, you know, all these albums, very strong in my opinion. A lot of classic stuff on here. War Pigs, Paranoid are both in the top 3 of the album, I'd say. And then Fairies Wear Boots, for sure, is my favorite song on this album. Very, very good stuff. And then at number 11 is going to be Seventh Star, the only album with Glenn Hughes doing the vocals. He's a great singer. It had Eric Singer playing the drums, who he has played with a lot of different people, most famously probably with Kiss. He joined that band in like 91, then was out for a while, then he's been back with them since 2001. But yeah, Seventh Star, very close to getting in my top 10, but had to leave it at number 11. Danger Zone is great. Turn to Stone is awesome. Just some really cool underrated tracks on there. Tony Iommi freaking laying down a lot of great solos and riffs as usual. So those were number 19 through 11, and now we're on to the top 10. Coming in at number 10 for me is going to be Sabotage. Got the CD right here. Came out back in 1975, and this actually has my favorite Ozzy era song, which is Symptom of the Universe. Really great riff from Tony Iommi on that song, but that could be said about most of their songs. Hole in the Sky is really good. Megalomania is good. The Writ is good. So, solid album. In at number 10 for me, Sabotage. Born Again is going to come in at number 9 for me. Got it here on vinyl. Pretty cool cover art, I think, honestly. And then the back with the band members. Bill Ward came back and did drums on this. He was not on Mob Rules in 81. And, of course, Ian Gillan from Deep Purple. This is the only album of Black Sabbath he sang on. I think it worked pretty well. Freaking Disturbing the Priest is a really great song. Just looking at the rest of the track listing. Zero the Hero is really cool. Hotline, that's a really great song as well. So, some very solid stuff on this album. Born Again, number 9. Coming in at number 8 is going to be Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. Came out back in 1973, and it is my favorite album of theirs with Ozzy on vocals. Very solid, a lot of really good songs. The title tracks, Abracadabra, Killing Yourself to Live, A National Acrobat. A lot of really cool songs, a lot of great underrated stuff too. So, number 8, Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. Dehumanizer comes in at number 7 for me. It was their third album with Ronnie James Dio. Came out in 1992. Very solid. Some of my favorites on it are TV Crimes, Computer God, Time Machine, but lots of good stuff throughout the album. Getting into the territory where I pretty much just really, really like the rest of these albums. Lots of great stuff, but this just has to come in at number 7, Dehumanizer. Coming in at number 6 is going to be Cross Purposes. Really great and super underrated album. Tony Martin on vocals. It was their 4th album with him. Bobby Randinelli on the drums. Geezer Butler did play bass on it. Jeff Nichols on keyboards. Just a very strong album that I think deserves some credit. So I have it at number 6. Looking at these songs, lots of really good ones. Eyewitness, Cross of Thorns, Psychophobia, The Hand That Rocks the Cradle, Cardinal Sin. Evil Eye is a really cool song that actually has Eddie Van Halen playing the guitar solos, and he co-wrote it. Just lots of really good stuff. Super good album. Cross Purposes, number 6. Mob Rules comes in at number 5. Really strong album. Came out back in 1981. Was their first to feature Vinny Appice on the drums. He's really great. And it's pretty stacked with great songs. Voodoo, Turn Up the Night, Over and Over, Falling Off the Edge of the World, Sign of the Southern Cross. Just a lot of really good stuff. Ronnie James Dio on vocals, of course, is amazing. Iommi with all those great riffs and solos. Just a really great album. Freaking Mob Rules, number 5. Coming in at number 4 is going to be Headless Cross. Really great and underrated album that came out back in 1989. Was their first to feature Cozy Powell on drums. He's an amazing drummer, one of the best of all time. Tony Martin, it was their 2nd album to feature him on vocals. Iommi on the album playing guitar as usual, is a beast. What else we got? Jeff Nichols on the keyboards, and a guy named Lawrence Cottle played bass. It was their only album with him. But a lot of really great songs on here. Devil and Daughter, the title track, and When Death Calls are my favorites. When Death Calls actually features Brian May from Queen doing a guitar solo, so that's pretty cool. Just a lot of really great, underrated stuff on this album. I highly recommend checking it out if you haven't done so. Headless Cross, number 4. The Eternal Idol comes in at number 3 for me. Got it right here on vinyl. It was up on the wall for most of the video, but I got it down to show here real quick. Fantastic album. Came out in 1987. Was the first with Tony Martin on vocals. Tony Martin era getting some respect in my ranking. Definitely deserves it in my opinion. Tons of really great songs from that era of the band. This album, pretty stacked in my opinion. The Shining is great. Ancient Warrior, Lost Forever, amazing song with a great riff. The title track of this album is really great. Dark and heavy stuff. Nightmare is cool. Born to Lose. Just really like most of these songs. Very solid album. The Eternal Idol, number 3. Taking the number 2 spot for me is going to be Tear. Came out back in 1990. Extremely great album. Tony Martin on vocals, was their 3rd album with them. Tony Iommi guitars. Jeff Nichols on the keyboards. Neil Murray on bass. Cozy Powell on drums again. Very great lineup in my opinion, and these songs are absolutely killer. Just looking at this track listing, nothing weak here. Anno Mundi, The Lawmaker, Jerusalem, Sabbath Stones, Valhalla, Feels Good to Me, Heaven in Black. All very good songs. Should definitely listen to this album if you have not heard it yet. TYR, or Tear, however that's pronounced, number 2. Taking the number 1 spot is going to be Heaven and Hell. Came out back in 1980, was their first with Ronnie James Dio on vocals. Fantastic album, one of the greatest metal albums of all time. The track listing is amazing. Neon Nights, Children of the Sea, Lady Evil, the title track. Die Young is my favorite Black Sabbath song of all time. Lonely is the Word, the final track is great. Just an extremely great album that has been my favorite forever, as long as I can remember. Heaven and Hell, number 1. So that was my ranking of Black Sabbath's discography. Of course, I'm sure not too many people are going to agree with me completely. You guys can let me know what you thought, give me your opinion. So give me your ranking in the comments if you'd like. And until next time, thank you for watching.